Almost texted you tonight, then I remembered who I'd be. Someone reaching for the past, someone you don't need. I smiled in all the right places, said I'm doing fine somehow, but missing you is louder when I don't say it out loud. You think I moved on easily? I let you believe that's true. I miss you more than you know, more than I'll ever say, more than the nights I lie awake replaying yesterday. I carry you in quiet ways and never let you see. You walked away believing I was strong. I miss you more than you know. I pass the places we once loved, like strangers to my life. I laugh a little slower now, I sleep with all the light. You look happy from a distance, like the leaving didn't cost. I wonder if you ever feel what I never lost. I don't blame you for choosing peace. I just wish it wasn't me. I miss you more than you know, in the spaces in between. Every almost, every maybe, every shattered dream. You don't owe me anything. I don't want you to see the part of me that still breaks down, missing you quietly. Maybe love isn't meant to last. Maybe it's meant to stay in the corners of your memory that never fade away. I don't need you to come back or change what you believe. I just needed you to know what you meant to me. I miss you more than you know, but I'm learning how to cope, how to love the memory without holding on to hope. One day I'll say your name and it won't undo me, but tonight I'll tell the truth. I miss you more than you know. You'll never hear these words, but they're still true. I miss you more than you know. I believed in something bigger than the two of us alone. I thought love would hold together what we couldn't own. I gave it every reason. I gave it all my trust. I thought love would save us, but it left us. I followed every promise, it's too far apart. Love let me down when I needed it most. I stayed when it got heavy. You were letting go. I didn't lose my faith in you. I lost it in love somehow. I held on, I held out. Love let me down. I did everything they say you're supposed to do. I communicated, I forgave, I stayed true. The love doesn't guarantee a place to land. Sometimes it slips right through your hands. I didn't walk away bitter, just tired. Love let me down, not you alone. I don't hate the way you left, I hate what I was shown. That effort isn't always enough to keep it around. I believed in love, and love let me down. Maybe love is just a feeling, not a plan. Maybe it can't carry us the way we demand. I don't regret believing or giving my all. I just didn't know even love could fall. Love let me down, but I'm still here. I'll learn to love again someday, just not from fear. I won't stop believing, I'll just slow it down. I still believe in love, even though you let me down. Just in love, it let me down. I waited for you to meet me where my heart already was. I spoke in all my honesty. You answered when it was convenient, not when it was love. I thought patience was devotion. I thought silence meant you cared. I kept reaching for your hand. You were never really there. You said you loved me in your way. I loved you out loud. I loved alone while you stood near. filled in all the missing pieces, so we wouldn't fall apart. I learned how to need less from you, so you'd stay inside my heart. You gave just enough to keep me hoping, not enough to feel secure. I called it compromise, but love shouldn't feel unsure. I blame myself for wanting more than you could give. I loved alone through every doubt. I showed up fully, you checked in and out. I stayed when it was fragile, you stayed when it was easy. I wasn't asking for too much, I was asking the wrong person. Maybe love isn't meant to hurt like this kind of quiet pain. Maybe being chosen halfway is worse than being alone. I don't regret the way I loved, I just wish it was returned. I gave you my whole heart and watched myself get burned. I loved alone, but I was real. I felt everything deeply, you barely felt. One day I'll be loved loudly in a way that's true, but tonight I'm naming the You didn't raise your voice, you didn't make a scene. You said it like a passing thought, like it didn't mean a thing. Your keys were on the table, your jacket by the door. You said you'd be in touch sometime, like we were nothing more. You didn't say you stopped loving me, you just stopped staying. You left quietly, like love knew how to behave. Like breaking my heart wasn't something loud or brave. No shattered pictures, no goodbye speech. You didn't tear my world apart, you left quietly. I replay every sentence, looking for the turn, the moment where I should've known this was where I'd learn. You smiled like you were relieved, like the weight was finally gone. I stood there holding everything you'd already moved on from. You walked away so carefully, I'm still feeling it. And you left quietly, and somehow that hurt worse. No reason to be angry, no words I could have versed. I don't know how to hate you or set myself free. You didn't break me loudly, you left room still hears your name. Every night, every day I'm learning how to live with the way you disappeared. You didn't say goodbye out loud. You left quietly here. No last words, no fight, just the sound of love leaving my life quietly. You told me time would heal it like it heals everyone. You said I'd find my footing once the worst was done. But healing didn't rush in, it didn't save the day. The world kept moving forward, I just stayed. I learned how to function, not how to forget. I stayed broken long after you left. I learned how to smile, but not how to rest. Everyone said I'd be okay if I kept going. I kept going, it's true, but I stayed broken. I showed up where I needed to. I said the words on cue. No one saw the weight I carried in everything I do. I didn't fall apart loudly, I didn't ask for help. I held myself together by myself. I wasn't stuck in the past, I was living with it. I stayed broken and no one knew. I learned how to hide it like I always do. You don't see the cracks if I don't show them. I learned how to stand upright, but I stayed broken. Maybe not everything heals, maybe some things remain. Maybe strength isn't fixing, it's learning to carry the pain. I don't need to be whole again to still be real. I just needed someone to see how I feel. I stayed broken, but I survived. I learned how to live with pieces inside. One day I'll feel lighter, one day I'll be open, but tonight I'm telling the truth. I stayed broken. I didn't stop breathing, I didn't give in, I just kept living while staying broken. I defended you for so long, said you were just afraid. I called distance needing space, I softened every blade. But the truth doesn't bend forever, no matter how I try. You weren't lost or broken, you just said goodbye. I stopped rewriting the story. You chose leaving when staying was hard. You chose the silence over my heart. I didn't push you away, I didn't ask you to go. You weighed the cost of loving me and chose letting go. You didn't disappear suddenly, you planned it in your mind. I felt you pulling back from us long before the line. I kept hoping for a turning point, something I could save. I didn't realize loving you meant standing in the way. You made a decision, I felt the aftermath. You chose leaving without looking back. You closed the door and sealed the cracks. I stayed open, I stayed true, I stayed believing. You didn't lose your way, you chose leaving. Maybe loving you was never wrong, just uneven. Maybe I loved with my whole heart while you were halfway in. I don't hate you for protecting yourself or choosing your peace. I just wish you'd been honest before you released me. You chose leaving, and now I see not every ending needs blame to be real to me. I'll stop carrying the weight of a choice I didn't make. You didn't drift away. You chose leaving. You chose leaving. I let go of the questions when I named the truth. You chose leaving. I replay the last good moment like it might explain the rest. When your eyes still look like mine, when your hand still held my chest. Somewhere between I'm tired and we'll talk another day. Something in you shifted and never found its way. You were still right beside me, but already halfway gone. I found the place where you stopped loving me. Not a fight, not a goodbye, just a slow You laughed a little softer, you listened less each time. I felt myself explaining things that never crossed your mind. You said you needed space like it wasn't already there. I was reaching for your hand, you were breathing different air. I blame myself for what I felt, but now I finally see. I found the place where you stopped loving me, and unanswered questions and unfinished dreams. You didn't mean to hurt me, you just couldn't stay. I stayed hoping love would come back. You walked away. Maybe love doesn't end at once. Maybe it slowly leaves, one truth at a time, one less reason to believe. I don't hate you for outgrowing what I was still inside. I just wish you told me sooner, before my heart tried. I found the place where you stopped loving me, and I finally let myself feel what I couldn't be. I won't chase the version of us that you couldn't keep, but part of me will always ache where you stopped loving me. I walked back through the memories so I could finally leave the place where you stopped loving me. You said it once, real gentle, like you practiced it all day. I think we're better letting go. Then you turned and walked away. I nodded like I understood, like my heart wasn't breaking through. You left believing love had ended. I didn't tell you it was still you. I held it together while you closed the door, but love doesn't listen to reason anymore. I loved you after goodbye, after the words were said, after you stopped calling my name and started calling it the end. I loved you in the silence, in the spaces you were near. You let go to save yourself. I stayed. I loved you after goodbye. I erased you from my phone, but not from every thought. I learned how not to text you every time I almost forgot. You look lighter in the distance, like you finally felt relief. I was carrying the weight of who we used to be. You healed by leaving it behind. I healed by loving you in time. I loved you after goodbye, when it wasn't safe or smart, when loving you was just a habit written just wish it didn't hurt this deep. You learned how to forget me. I learned how to keep. I loved you after goodbye, after hope had disappeared, after every what if and every unshed tear. One day I'll love someone new and it won't feel like a lie, but part of me will always say I loved you after goodbye. You love me for a moment. I loved you after goodbye. You packed up everything so neat, like leaving didn't hurt. I watched the life we talked about disappear in your shirt. You said this wasn't anyone's fault, just something we outgrew. But somehow I'm the only one still standing in the truth. You walked away with open hands, like love was easy to release. I stayed behind with all the weight of what we used to be. Love left me here with your name on my chest. You took the future we imagined and left me with the rest. I'm learning how to breathe alone through all the fear. You found your way to something new. Love left me here. The silence knows me better now than your voice ever did. I talk to empty rooms at night, like maybe you still live. You said I'd thank you someday for letting this all end, but healing feels like losing you again and then again. I don't blame you for choosing peace or walking on your own. I just wish you hadn't left me, learning how to be alone. Love me here while you moved on. I stayed holding on to echoes long after you were gone. You didn't mean to break my heart, but that doesn't make it clear you found yourself, you found your truth. Love left me here. Maybe loving you was brave, or maybe I was blind. I confused standing by your side with leaving myself behind. If love is meant to set you free, then I misunderstood. I gave you all of me, you gave me what you could. Love left me here, but I'll survive. I'll learn to live without your hand, rewriting my own life. They say time makes it easier, like it knows what to do. But every day I wake up still carrying you. I go where I'm supposed to, I say I'm doing fine, but healing feels like learning how to lie. I stopped talking about you, but I never stopped feeling it. I'm still hurting, even now, even when I laugh, even when I smile out loud. I've learned how to hide it, but it's still there. I'm still hurting. I just don't say it anymore. I cleaned out all the memories, left nothing in their place. But absence has a way of leaving a trace. You look okay from far away, like the leaving didn't scar. I wonder if you ever feel what I still are. I don't miss the chaos, I miss the calm. I'm still hurting in quiet ways, in all the things I never say. I don't need saving, I don't need words. I'm still hurting, and that's the truth. Maybe pain doesn't fade, maybe it settles in. Maybe healing isn't forgetting, it's learning how to live with it. I don't wanna go backwards, I just wanted to ease. I'm tired of being strong when no one sees. I'm still hurting, but I'm here, still breathing, still sincere. One day this ache will soften, one day it won't stay. But tonight I'll say it once. I'm still hurting, I'm still hurting. You said you needed time to think, I said I'd be right here. I watched the days turn into weeks while you disappeared. Your voice grew thin, your text grew rare, your eyes wouldn't stay. I was holding on to every word, you were already away. I kept the door unlocked at night, like love might change your mind. I didn't know I was saying goodbye, one promise at a time. I waited while you left, believing you'd come back. I stood still while you walked away down a the quiet, not from something you said, just the way you stopped looking my way instead. I watched you grow distant while I stayed the same, trying to fit into a love that didn't know my name. I kept showing up, you kept pulling away. I wasn't your person, no matter how hard I tried. I loved you out loud, you loved me on the side. You didn't mean to hurt me, you just didn't choose. I wasn't the one you needed, I was just close to you. I made space for your silence, called it understanding. I waited in the middle while your heart was landing. You never lied to me, you just never stayed. I kept hoping for a place you never made. I stopped asking what I did wrong. I wasn't your person, and that's the truth. I could have been everything, just not to you. You don't have to be cruel to leave someone bruised. I wasn't the one you. I was the one you. Maybe love isn't about effort, staying long. Maybe it's about knowing where you belong. I don't hate you for knowing or letting me go. I just wish I'd known sooner, so I could let go. I wasn't your person, but I was real. I gave you a heart I didn't conceal. One day I'll be someone's home, someone's truth. I wasn't your person, but I was true. I stopped trying to be what I never was. Not your person. Talks in circles, never straight, afraid of what we'd find. We felt the spark, but stayed too safe, too scared to cross the line. Every look said something's here, but words were hard to say. We kept our hearts in question marks and let the moment fade. I waited for a sign from you, you waited for one too. And in the space of hesitation, we already knew. We ended before we tried, before the first real fight, before we learned how love survives the long and lonely nights. We never failed, we never fell, we just never jumped in. We said goodbye to what we were before we could begin. You said maybe someday soon, I heard not right now. I held on to every almost like it meant somehow. We chose comfort over courage, silence over truth. We protect ourselves so other way. If I ever think of you again, I won't wonder why. Some stories aren't meant to happen, they're meant to pass us by. We ended before we tried, and that's the part that hurts. Not the loss of what we had, but what we could have been first. I don't regret the way we felt or the closeness we once knew. I just wish we'd raised our hearts before we said we're through. Some endings don't come from failure, they come from fear. I held it together longer than anyone could see. I smiled through conversations like nothing was breaking me. I told myself I'd be okay if I just stay strong, but strength gets tired of pretending nothing's wrong. I didn't shatter all at once, I came undone. I fell apart in quiet ways, in empty rooms and nameless days. No one noticed, no one knew I was holding everything but you. I stopped sleeping through the night, started counting breaths. I carried your absence like a weight on my chest. I didn't ask for saving, I didn't ask for help. I thought I could survive this by myself. I didn't scream or cry out, I just broke. I fell apart behind closed doors. I kept showing up, but I couldn't hold more. I wasn't weak, I was worn through from loving someone I lost to you. Maybe falling apart is how you finally see what you gave away to keep someone with you. I don't regret loving you or how deep it went. I regret thinking breaking and I'd failed at it. I fell apart, but I'm still here, learning how to gather what disappeared. One day I'll feel whole again, I know that's true, but tonight I'm naming the truth. I fell apart, I didn't collapse loudly, I just fell apart. I didn't collapse loudly, I just fell apart. We packed your life into boxes. I packed my feelings away. You said you needed a new start. I stayed right where we lay. The door closed softer than expected, like it didn't wanna hurt. But silence settled in the room and proved it still could. You called it love that ran its course. I called it losing you. You moved on, I was left behind, counting all the reasons you were ready and I wasn't in time. You found peace in letting go. I'm still trying to find how to live in the world you left behind. Your shadow's still in the hallway, your name's still on my phone. I talk to you in my head at night, like I'm not alone. You look lighter from a distance, like the weight was only mine. I'm carrying the version of us you left behind. I don't hate you for choosing more, I just wish you chose me. You moved on, I was left behind, watching life keep moving while my heart lost track of time. You said this pain would fade away like it's a state of mind. State of mind. But I'm living in the love you left behind. Maybe I love deeper, or maybe I love wrong. Maybe holding on too long is what made me weak, not strong. If leaving helped you breathe again, I hope it saved your life. But it cost me everything I was willing to fight. You moved on, I was left behind, but I won't stay frozen here for the rest of my life. One day I'll forgive the past and where you said goodbye. But tonight I'm still the one left behind. You walked into tomorrow, I stayed in last night, left behind you. You said we just needed time, said love doesn't rush. I held on to every maybe, like it was enough. I watched the signs stack up, told myself they'd fade. I kept believing tomorrow would change today. I heard the truth, I waited anyway. I stayed hopeful when hope was thin. I stayed believing we were near the end. You were already letting go. I didn't know. I stayed hopeful long after you were done. I fill the silence with reasons to keep us alive. I learned how to read your absence as a sign. You didn't promise forever, you didn't lie. I just kept hearing a future in your reply. I called patience love. I stayed hopeful while you moved on. I held on to us when you were gone. I don't regret loving you or being faithful. I regret not leaving sooner. I stayed hopeful. Maybe hope isn't harmless when it costs your heart. Maybe believing too long is its own kind of dark. I don't blame you for changing or choosing your way. I just wish I'd chosen myself.